reports, right? So where like, where we have seen that the significance of reports, like why should we go for a report? So it's a simple example, like, whenever you're talking about report or report definition, so just think of like, you must be pulling out some data from the table, and it's very much equivalent of writing to SQL query and all that, but in the backend. So whenever that, where is that? Yeah, this is a report definition, right? So whenever you run this, so in the backend, is basically the Pega, what does is like, it will just run the SQL query, and then you can see that SQL query in one of the page, in clipboard. So, you can see that too. So, all that SQL, like, select and everything, like, all that, whatever that, backend. So we don't have to worry about much into that, so all that we need to worry is like, that warning. I mean, we should not break any of the Pega rules. These warnings should not come. We should just, try to reduce as much as warning that we can. That I've told you, right? We have guardrails code. Basically, the Pega will rate you how that you're coding it. And if you don't code properly, it's very much equivalent to if you don't follow the rules. Like, if you cross a red line, like, you have to pay the challan. In the very similar way, if you don't follow, like, this Pega's rules, like, the marks, the Pega will cut your marks, like, out of 100, the Pega will, give you 60, 70 and all the stuff. And as a best practice, we make sure that our cutoff should be 95, not less than 95%, basically. That's called as guardrail score. So like that. So and then of course, and we have seen that, like, these few of the warning which we have which we have seen, like yesterday, these properties are not optimized. So it's a good warning, like, I mean, good means, like, we have to not only just for performance basis, like, I mean, it's related to performance. Whenever it comes to performance, so just like, make sure that, like, I mean, you have to take it very seriously about that warning, basically, because end of the day, it might can happen that, or initially, like, if their users are less, then your system might can work properly. Or let's say, then again, like, if you're a lot of, or many users are using your application, and, so it might can cause some, a serious problem in the future, like, in the long run. So just make sure that, you are just, whatever that activity are written, or whatever that looping that you're doing it, or whatever the data that you're fetching it from the report definition is something, it's neat and clean, so that you don't have to worry about, okay, if 10 users are using the application, the speed is fine. Even if the 100 users are using the application, the speed is same. So it might get go millisecond here and there, but not more than that. So, so that all that, of course, like, if you're joining as a junior resource, like, of course, you don't have to worry about all these things. Basically, we see that, your lead of that team member, like, he has to decide each and every factor, I mean, as a team, like, as a team lead, like, that's his job, like, to reduce. But now that, for just for your information, like, these things are like, I mean, what does mean by optimization and all the stuff. So yesterday we have discussed, right? Optimization is nothing but, like, we have to create a new column, like, whatever the property that we create, and then we just create a new column here, and that's called as, like, we just take that property out of the blob, and blob, or, the column name is PV stream. So basically, if you have a, if you are working in a Pega environment, and if you have a SQL access, then basically you can see that column, in that SQL developer. So and okay, and then so it doesn't mean that, like, if it's a performance, it will improve. Then let us, like, optimize all the properties, whatever that you're creating it. But then that is also impact the performance, because unnecessary, like, you're adding a new column in the table, that might can also, cause performance issues. So just optimize only those properties which are needed for reporting. And then and there is a simple wizard which the Pega has provided to optimize the property. So for that one, we have property. Just go to the property and then just right click and just say that, optimize for reporting. So now the first one is a create. Create means it will create a new property. Then create properties means, like, let's say if you want to create multiple properties, like, if you just click here, then, you can create multiple properties, from here only. You're going to add field, and then you can create, like that. And then the third option we have seen, define expression, and it will just create a declare expression, which we have already seen. I mean, already, I guess we have created declare expression for calculating age. And the fourth option is optimize for reporting. So optimize, as soon as you say optimize for reporting, Pega will, like, and then you have to just that there are some 1, 2, 3 steps are there. Just you have to just say next, next, next. All that you need to verify is that in which table will the Pega will could add a new column. So once you say is okay, because now that let's say if this loan process is mapped to some A table, account opening is mapped to B table, and if this class group is mapped to some C table, so the Pega will list down all the tables. So you have to just select that particular table name, list down only those tables where in which you can create a new column. I mean this like that. So so just select the proper table name, and once you select that and just say next. I mean, I'm not doing it because I don't want to optimize this each one. So just say next, next, and next. That's it. Your job is done. The Pega will add a new column over here. So okay, so now today we'll see one more thing. Okay, so yesterday, okay, so now that if I'm applying for a loan, so in the first screen I can see it. Okay, how many loan that in the last 7 days I've applied for. And then also we can see, okay, what is the phone number that I've given, what is the loan type, and all the stuff. So now, okay, so now my requirement is that not only that I have to display these two details, but also I have to display, let's say, okay, already there is a work object, right? So now if I'll continue, then address, okay, family details. Okay, now I also have to display, okay, let's say this time I'm applying for a home loan, and also I have like all the past loan. Let's say I have educational loan, a home loan, and also I have one more personal loan, going in on my head. So these are the details. So this is my 12. Okay, something, So like that. So now, no, I also have to I also have to show on the UI that, okay, is there any past loan? If there is a past loan, okay, so what are those past loan that I've said on that particular application? Like for example, in this case, I have entered 3 records, but in the other work object, I might have entered so now I'll submit this. Okay, and then I'll create one more work object, and then let's say I have entered 2 records, personal loan and then home loan. Okay, and then I have to display that amount, or let's say EMI, per month, how much EMI that I'm paying it. Okay, so like that. So these two properties also we have to display this list, page list property, like loan amount and let's say loan type, and past loan type, and this EMI, that how much EMI that I'm paying it per month. So that also that I have to display over here. Okay, so now we know that so all these properties, either it could be a page list, page group, everything, the Pega will store it in the PZPV stream or the blob, like that. So here also, the whatever the data we enter, then you will enter that all the list 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, all this Pega will keep it over here. So we cannot directly, if you can see here, if we say add the column here, then we cannot directly say, okay, loan details, no, and then dot, something like, loan type. We cannot say something like this. Okay, so there is a different method. So one, we have to compulsory that, we have to optimize those properties, so optimizing the page list or a page group, whenever you optimize the embedded property or aggregate property, so you have to create one rule which is called as a declare index. So we'll be seeing that rule today. Okay, so hope you remember, already we discussed 2 declarative rules in the past, right? Declare expression and declare constraint. So we'll be seeing one, as a declare index in the today's session, what it is basically. It's a simple one, nothing complex. So already index, we know it, right? Why we use index? Index means something, if you want to fetch from the table, like in the faster and all the stuff, normally we create index, right? So on the similar way, we create the declare index tools when, let's say, if we want to include embedded properties or page list property or page group property inside a report. For example, inside this report, let's say I have not only have to show the single value properties, phone number, email address, but also I have to show the record, those page list record as well. So for that, the first thing what we'll do is we'll just optimize those properties, right? So this is the loan details, and then just go to the loan details and say, let's say, which property it was. amount, yeah, loan type, right? So loan type, so just say right click and say optimize for reporting. And then you can see that, of course, everything is similar. Like, the Pega is giving you that table name and everything. And also you can see that Pega is also creating one rule, which is called as a declare index rule. And the Pega will ask you, okay, so now it's a rule. So we have to store it in a rule set and a version, right? So Pega will ask you, okay, give me the rule set name and version. So let's give them, this is the word, this is a name and a version. Okay, and say next. Uh, Okay, so it's something like, it's the yesterday's one, it's something, please run optimize solution once pending job is completed or cancelled. Okay, so yesterday's job, it's not yet completed, so like, I'm showing you, right? So that job is not yet completed, basically. Okay, I guess that age one. Okay, so I'll just cancel it out. And now let's try it out. Loan type. Yeah, so it's basically the yesterday's one, which didn't get completed, so let me just log off and log in and let's try. Okay. So basically in this environment, I mean, I do many things, so that is the reason, like, so these things are happening. Otherwise, but in the real time, like another dev environment, we don't see these problems. So loan details. Let's try one more time. Otherwise, we'll create manually. Amount, loan type, optimize for reporting. Mhm. Yeah. So now what we'll do is we'll just create it like one more time. I mean, what we'll do is, like, instead of creating the declare index from the wizard, so we'll create a declare index manually. Okay. So now the declare index tools comes under a sysadmin category. So just if you say right click and create, and then you'll see that declare index, and then just give the name as loan details. And this is how your index tool looks like. Okay, so here in the source page context, you have to just give that, like, what that page, like, I mean, let's say the loan details, like, which page list or page group that you want to do that. And then the source page context class. Context class means this page definition. So just give that over here, and then index class to write. So what we have to do basically here is, like, I mean, because we are doing it manually, but basically if you do directly from here, like, if you just directly do from here, like, and all this stuff, so all these things, like, everything will be done by Pega. Like, all these this details, this details, and index class will also be, will be created by Pega itself. Like, we don't have to create anything. So just create some index class. So, so we just say index dash data dash loan details. Okay. So once that's done, and then here, sorry. Okay, then once this is done, okay, so I'll let you know, like, what are those errors are. Okay, so once this is done, and after that, like, you have to, like, you have to just give that, source page property. Source page property means, so basically what exactly that we do here is, like, declare index means we create a new table, like a new index table. So now once so when you optimize the single value properties, then Pega will add a new column in the same table, like, whatever the table is. But when you optimize the embedded properties, then the Pega will create a new index table. Let's say the index table name is will be, like, I mean, a loan index table. And then that once the table is created, and then the Pega will add their column as, let's say, loan type. And let's say if you have optimized the EMI per month also. EMI per month. Then that is the difference between that's the only difference when the difference between optimizing the single value property and the embedded property. So for the embedded properties, the Pega will create a new index table. Index table Pega will add it. Whatever that index table that you map it to this class, that will be that table. And then that table, the Pega will add all those column. Let's say if I'll optimize all the 5 or 6 properties, amount, EMI, and all these things, because I have to include all these properties in the report. So if I have optimized all these things, so then the Pega will add, one more column as amount here, and then tenure and all the stuff. The Pega will add a new column like over here. Okay. So like that. So and then so this is a source page class. So now that okay, so which property, basically which property from the blob, because this is a separate column or a separate property, normally we create one in the index class and one in the data class. So you can see that these properties are created under the this data class, right? BOA dash data dash loan details. But in the similar way, amount, we have to create it inside the index class as well. Okay, so that is what it's saying. The Pega is saying, okay, what is that? So now we can say that, okay, this loan type is equals to whatever the loan type. So loan type, if you see that, here, so the Pega will try to create that in the index class. The index class, what we have created. So just say, type it and save it. That's it. And then on the similar way, let's say we want to optimize EMI per month. Okay, EMI. So it's equals to again EMI per month. That's it. So these properties are also got created. Or ultimately, what we are doing here is properties means we have added a new column. So again, I'm doing it manually because that wizard didn't run. So at least it's good that you can see it how basically we create a declare index true. So if something if you are not able to create it from the wizard, so this is how the manual process that you can follow. Okay, so that's it, you don't have to do anything else. Okay, and then this is a simple optional one, indexing when, when you have to create this new table, or and all the stuff. So only when let's say the amount is greater than 30,000, 40,000, something, the condition that you can give, only then it will do that, so something if you want to place it. Otherwise, if there is no condition, then you can just keep it as a blank. So always it will create the index, all of this stuff. So now the Pega will ask you the error. Now let's talk about this error. This class cannot be an index class because it has invalid key properties. Its keys properties must be px index key, px index count, and this. So now basically what happens is, okay, so now this is the new table, right? So now it's okay. So okay, so this is a new table, right? Okay, so now okay, so one table is this, the main table, work table, and there is another table. So now if you now we it's a normal basic SQL concept, right? So if there should be if there are two tables, then there should be some connection between two tables, right? Let's say any table, like for example, employee table. So so in employee table, let's say my address, for storing the addresses, there is a separate table, and for storing the personal details, there is one table. Then and then there will be one column into both the tables, which will be act as a foreign key, right? So in the similar way, in this column also, in this table also, there will be one column which will be acting as a which will be acting as a foreign key, so that the Pega can understand, okay, for L-01, for example, in this one, let's say I have entered a loan type is equals to home loan, and then per year EMI per month is, let's say, 2,000 rupees, and then tenure is 20 years. Okay, and then I have entered one more is the personal loan, and then if it's, let's say, personal loan EMI is 3,000 rupees, and the tenure is 5 years. So like that. So how will the Pega will know? Okay, and then let's say I have two records, two work objects, L-01 and L-02. So how will the Pega knows, like, okay, this details, like, these two details, or which details, I have entered for L-01. So that one, the Pega will act as a foreign key. Like, if you remember, like, the same relation that I've shown you for the work object table and assignment table, right? The pxref object key. So if in the assignment table, pxref object key act as a foreign key, on the similar way, in index table, like this key, like px in index key will act as a foreign key. So here the Pega will store the, so in this column, so the Pega will create one more column as this px in index key. So in this one, the Pega will store the like, L-01. L-01, and here it will be L-02. 02. So now the Pega knows, okay, for this one, like, I have to fetch only this record, from this index table, not that, not the first record, like that. So that is what the relation between. So PX is index key. So now we have to specify these keys in the index class. So whenever you open any index class, so if you go to the records, and if you use admin, and then if you go to class, I can just type, filter it out with the index. Okay, so index, yeah, index this. So you can see that these, like, you have to specify the properties like this, like, px index key, and then all those stuff. So same way, we'll just also provide it in our index class. So where is it? Yeah. Okay, here is the one, and then the another class, another property which is mentioned as px index count. Okay, and the last one is this px index purpose. Okay, so now it got saved successfully. So now, like, so what we are saying, okay, the for this page list, we have to create a new index table, and for that new index table, just like, just have these two columns, and these two columns values will come from these values, like, already which we have created, like that. So either you can have the same name, like loan type, or you can have a different name, basically, like in this case, like, EMI, I've given here EMI, and I've just changed the name, property name to EMI per month, like that. So it depends upon you, like, I can do